Hello and welcome to Season 11 of Open Mic, and it's nice to be back. A long-time friend of mine in football likes to say, much smarter to leave the party 5 minutes early than 5 minutes late. Sandy Roberts apparently thinks the same way. He won't be gracing our television screens this year, or ever again, sadly. The friendly face, the mischievous smile, the perfect diction, all lost to football fans. Sandy, to borrow one of your favourite expressions, oh my hat. What are you doing? You just turned 69.
Michael, firstly, congratulations on your 11th season.
Thank you.
And our friend Scotty Clayton was quite right, and I concur. It is far better and safer to leave the party 5 minutes earlier than 5 minutes later. My wife and I thought long and hard about it, and I certainly want to leave doing television at a level that I was very happy with and not be a burden or anything like that or an embarrassment. So we decided the time is right.
Was there a compelling moment?
No, I had total support from Carolyn, so there was no.
You just woke up one day and said, I'm going to pull the pin.
We talked about it last year.
Yeah.
And we discussed it probably halfway through the season and didn't discuss it again. And then at the end of the season, we decided, after some discussion, this is it.
There's got to be a reason, though, because it's a big decision. I mean, you know now you're not coming back.
It's not huge, Michael. I've been doing it for 46 years.
Yeah, but you won't be doing it again.
Well, we do some things only once or twice and don't do them again. No. It was... Look, I've had a great run. I'm really happy. I've been blessed to work for networks that have covered sports that I've really enjoyed, and to finish with footy, which was my aim, it's completed it.
Totally your decision?
Totally. Well, with Carolyn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, OK. What's the origin of Oh My Hat?
Look, it's very boring, Michael, but I think it's probably... I was brought up on a farm near a little town called Lucendale in the southeast of South Australia, and my father was a farmer. And there are lots of expletives that you can use when you're having problems getting sheep in and stuff like that. And I think he, to be on the safe side, used oh my hat or oh my giddy aunt, and it probably...
Really?
They stuck.
When you arrived at Fox, part of the promo was you saying oh my hat.
I must have said it a long, long time for them to want to do that.
Let's have a look at it now.
Sandy, what took you so long?
Oh, my hat.
The best game in the world, Sandy Roberts, deserves the greatest channel in the universe.
Coming to heaven, eh?
Sadly, it's
With
too
Eddie.
close for all of us, yeah. You're going to continue in radio, aren't you?
Yes.
With Croc Media.
Yep.
Which raises the question with me, why, if you were going to call football, why wouldn't you call it on television?
Just to ease the burden, take away a little bit of the stress level. And I really enjoy radio. I don't have to kit up and don't require a makeup artist. And it's...
You do, actually.
I think it's a more relaxed medium in many ways. And, yeah, I just looking forward to it.
Were you happy that you were au fait with the modern game in terms of TV?
Yeah, but I think it was becoming more challenging. The speed of the game is telling. The turnover of the ball is telling, and you've just got to be sharper. Your eyes aren't getting any better, and your brain's not getting any sharper. So, yeah, they were things that were very much in the back of my mind.
How many games do you reckon you've called for Channel 7 and Fox Footy?
Probably just over 1,100.
1,100?
I don't count them, but if you work it out over the number of years, and, you know, back in those old days, you'd do probably 3 games sometimes a weekend for 7, and that was from Perth to Sydney and all stops in between. So that was really, you know, the seasons then were tremendously hectic.
Is there a favourite?
No, I thought you'd ask that. I don't think there is a favourite game. My favourite things are things that I probably do for the first time. The Moscow Olympics in 1980, calling the first grand final, which was Essendon and Collingwood in 1990, and of course that game had a fair bit in it with TD and Gavin Brown and Darren Mullane holding the ball up with a broken thumb when they've finally broken the drought of 58. But I look more at moments in games, and that's what I remember. you know, well, Gary Ablett in '89.
Yep.
Matera in '92. You look at guys that have just done sensational things. Matty Scarlett Topo to Gary Ablett.
Is
The
there one?
cruel bounce for Stephen Milne.
Yes, yeah. There's dozens, hundreds of them.
Yeah.
But is there one that just, if you had to pick one, does one stand out for you?
Probably Gary Ablett when he recovered and kicked that goal.
Was that the one where you went a fraction early?
I took a punt, yeah. And I took a punt because I love watching Gary Ablett and I knew what Gary Ablett was capable of. And I was lucky that when I did say, what more can you say? And the ball was still heading towards goal. Now, I would have had egg on my face if the umpire had gone, but he didn't. He raised the 2, so...
You mentioned the Olympics and you've done heaps of sports, golf, tennis, a whole range of things, and 11 Olympic Games. Are you a football caller first, or are they all blend in together and it's whatever you're doing at the time?
Very good question, Mike, because I worked with the legendary race caller Bill Collins in Moscow when he called the track and field. And
Yeah.
not often you have an athlete, one out and one back, but he was fantastic to work with. No, I'm a broadcaster, and I think that's what I was brought up to do. When I first started, I was a station announcer, which meant you did absolutely everything from hosting the midday movie to reading the scripts at night, you know, stay on BCV8 now for the next episode of Homicide. And you did the lot, and it was just a great, great learning circle. And to watch people like Bill Collins, Ron Casey, they were all-rounders, and that's what I aspired to be.
I want to ask you about your job at one of the Olympics when you were told that you were going to the archery. I'm not sure you're all that well versed in archery, were you?
It was 1980 and things were very different then. Nowadays, you do an Olympic Games, you're informed at least 6 months beforehand, right? You'll be doing track and field, you'll be doing archery, you'll be doing diving. So if you're not au fait with the sport, you've got 6 months to get your head around it. In 1980, Ron Casey called breakfast 7:30 each morning. People like myself and Bill Collins went down to breakfast, and on this particular day, I'll never forget it, track and field was over, and Ron said, now let's have a look at today's program. Bill Collins, you'll be calling judo. Sandy Roberts, you'll be doing archery. Well, Bill and I sort of looked at each other because we sort of worked a bit together over there. Bill had never done judo, and the only thing I'd ever known about archery was Robin Hood, and I think he actually got a mention in the coverage, but that was it.
I bet he did. I think probably your most famous expression during your hours and hours of football coverage was related to Tony Lockett and a pig at the SCG.
Oh, there's a pig on the ground. There is a pig at full forward. It looks like a large white landrace cross.
We have an expert in the field. It's a good thing you're here.
He's looking.
Oh, he's
for
on
the
a lead.
opponent.
He's on a lead. Get the runner out there and pick up the pig.
Well, number 4 plugger. Ah, it's hard. Only a joke, plugger, if you're watching.
Dennis was calling the play at the time, and I'm just keeping an eye generally on the entire ground, and the pig was let go at the other end of the ground. So as soon as I saw it, you just call what you see. And I virtually interrupted Dennis and said, there's a pig at full forward, or whatever it was. And yeah.
So football, golf, tennis, among other things. Do you have a favourite sportsman? I mean, you've rubbed shoulders with a lot of famous people on the world stage, haven't you?
Yeah, I've been very lucky. To work and to interview people like Jack Nicklaus, Arnold Palmer, Seve Ballesteros. People forget that, Nick Faldo, we had all the world's top golfers that used to come out here. I mean, golf was very, very big back in the 80s. We had test matches up in Queensland. We had skins games. We covered events like the New South Wales Open, the Victorian Open, let alone the Australian Open, the Masters, the Johnny Walker Classic and things like that. But I suppose if I did have one favourite, it would be, and again, I don't want to sound boring, Michael, but Roger Federer is just one of the great sporting ambassadors.
Well, he is, but why particularly? Is there an emotional attachment between you two?
Well, I don't know whether you remember, but he was a huge fan of Rod Laver, and the one ambition that he did have was to come out here, play Rod Laver Arena, and have Rod Laver present him with the winning trophy after winning the men's singles. Well, of course, he made it into the final up against Rafael Nadal when Rocket came out for the first time at the arena with Nadal and Federer. Federer was favourite. He got beaten. So I did the presentation, and you always introduce the runner-up first. He came to the microphone and basically he broke down in tears.
There he is, Sandy. Now, how do you handle that situation? There are millions of people watching, one of the world's elite sportsmen's there, and he's crumbling in front of you in emotional terms.
Yeah, he was. And I said, it might sound very Australian, I just said, look, mate, I think I might have even said, mate, would you just mind, just stand back for a moment, I'll get Rafa up first and you can settle down. And he was really appreciative, and Nadal was very good as well. And but that's how much, Mike, it meant to Roger to have Rod Laver there, and how disappointed he was that he didn't get the chance for Rod to present him with the winner's trophy.
Do you socialise with blokes like that? Or is it just the on-stage, you're momentarily with them?
On stage.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's it.
It's our job. I mean, it's a great job that we've had, but it's a job.
Is there a sport you missed? You've done a lot.
Actually, it's really interesting, and the way things move, but I've always loved Test cricket. Loved it, and would love to have done it. But the way everything fell, Seven for many, many, many years simply did golf, tennis and football, which I love the three of them. But they never did cricket. Excuse me, we did a one-dayer from England one night. It was an all-nighter. I remember sitting in the studio with Max Walker and did that. But that was the only opportunity we had to do cricket.
I want you to have a listen to some of your football commentary, Sandy, and then we'll talk about them individually.
Can he finish it off with a goal? Billy, you are king of Geelong! The monkey's off the back, Billy! He's a light, Gary Ablett. Look at this. Here is the magician at work. He shoots towards goal. What more can you say? What a finish. Any score. Otherwise, we play extra time. Lockett, the most important kick of his career. Any score will do. He kicks. They're into the grand final. City are in the middle. Now Michael Long. Look at this boy go. Away goes Michael Long. 50 metres out. Still going. 30 metres out. Oh, what play! It may have been touched on the line. No!
How are the hairs on the back of your neck?
Oh, yeah. He was fantastic that day, wasn't he, Michael Long?
But they all were.
93, yeah.
And you've called them, and I've seen those examples dozens of times, but it doesn't change, does it?
No, it's exciting to watch it again and relive the moment.
Why were you...
Sos Silvani mightn't like that too much, by the way.
He still didn't touch it inside the line. Why do you think you were why do you think you had such longevity and popularity? We can do a self-appraisal. Why do you think you worked?
I'd like to think that I'm natural. I don't put on an act. I call everything as I see it. And I'd like to think also that the people that I sort of tried to model myself very early on, listening to the Ted Whittons, the Butch Gales, the Mike Williamsons, the interesting thing with them, they decided to entertain. And I know footy's big business, but it's entertainment. And I think that's what the people sitting in the lounge room at home want to see.
But you, McAvaney Committee, all different.
Yep.
And BT.
Yep.
Sort of there's a range of techniques there, isn't there? So in the end, when you sort of established yourself, you said, I'll be Sandy Roberts, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone's different. Like Bruce, for example, will concentrate more on the game statistically. Dennis was a great caller and great to work with as well as Bruce. Dennis did like a bit of fun. There's no doubt about that. But he was probably in many ways more scripted, whereas I certainly wasn't.
So the spontaneity might have been rehearsed, was it?
I think you could suggest that.
Those examples that we saw there, Ablett, Long, Brownless and Lockett, they all stand justified in the pantheon of the great calls. Which one did you like best?
Good question, Michael. I think Ablett. I mean, because I loved him. I loved watching him. I loved the way he played. I loved his unpredictability, his strength and his skill. But then again, you look at Michael Long, streaming through the middle of the MCG on that one day in September was just fantastic. Billy saved the game, and he likes now to be referred to as the King of Geelong. In '96, with Plugger, that got them into the grand final, only to go down to the Kangaroos. But that was a really, really big moment at the SCG.
Let's go back to the start. Humble origins, weren't they? Do you grow up in Lucindale?
Yes, yes, outside Lucindale on a property. Not far away from a man who had elastic arms, who played for Essendon, and his name was Stephen Copping.
Yep.
There you go.
Did you want to be a journo or did you want to be a commentator? What was your direction?
I had an idea that I wanted to be a journalist. My mother gave me a book as a teenager entitled War Correspondent, written by a journalist, and then I moved more towards radio, and in those days it was a natural progression to go from radio to television, and that's what happened with me, albeit even though I was in the country.
Was that at Bendigo?
BCV8 Bendigo.
Yeah.
The radio was 3CS Colac.
Yep.
And 6pm Perth, which is where I basically started radio. Went in there to get a job as a newsreader and journalist, and I got the job and looked in the next studio the next day. Who's spinning the records?
Dennis Cometti.
Correct.
You had a passion for music. Did
did.
you ever work as a DJ?
I tried to. What I did, I'd go down after my shift at 6pm and I'd grab a whole lot of records, put a spool on the tape machine and do demo tapes. And I kept those demo tapes. And I went overseas and came back and whatever and had to get a job. And so I sent the demo tapes all around the place, and 3CS in Colac actually picked one up and said, yeah, we'll have a crack.
So what did you do at Colac?
Afternoons, 4
It was
to 7.
like chat, was it?
Music.
Was it
No, it was a
talkback or-
music station.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when I arrived there, Greg Evans was doing breakfast. And
At 3CS?
At 3CS.
Wow. Your favourite genre of music? I like
60s.
saying that word.
Genre. 65 to 69, probably good years. And never anything after perhaps 1990.
Okay. And if you had the opportunity to go to any band of your time, which one would it have been?
Well, my favourite band was the Rolling Stones, but I had a phobia about going and seeing them because I didn't know if they could replicate what they put on vinyl on stage.
So who were you, Mick, or were you Keith? Who would you have been in...
I wasn't Keith. I think I was marginally healthier. And I wasn't Brian Jones either. No, I just loved the band. I loved the sound. And in those days, there were two camps. There was the Beatles camp and there was the Rolling Stones. The clean-cut boys, the naughty boys. So I suppose, let's be a rebel. Let's go with the Stones.
Yeah, all clean-cut boys want to think like that, don't they? You should have been a Beatle. How did you get to Melbourne?
I worked at Channel 7 in Adelaide for 7 years. Again, starting off as an announcer and then drifted, I don't know how it happened, but I drifted into sport and I compared World of Sport over there and worked on the Penthouse Club, which we had over there as well.
So they were independent, the same name as the Melbourne...
Totally independent.
...programs, but different.
Totally independent,
Yep.
And drifted into footy, started calling reserves, finished up calling seniors, and then in 1980, we weren't exactly a network, but 7 in Adelaide was like a first cousin of 7 in Melbourne. So Ron Casey had wanted to draw people from the 7s around the country. And he did that despite the political problems that were going on in Russia and, the Cold War and everything. We only took 49 people. Well, in Olympic Games nowadays, you take 300.
300, literally 300.
Yeah. But we took 49.
Yeah.
So a couple of us were invited. A producer was invited from Adelaide and I was invited. So that was my opportunity. And then midway during Moscow, Ron Casey, who was running the whole ship, the stress started to tell and he got this shocking rash on his face. And Gary Fenton and Gordon Bennett had a chat with Ron and said, look, you can't go on air like that. You've got too much on your load. Let's just take a bit off you and make it a bit easier. And so they asked me to host, and that's what I did. And it was during that time that Gary and Co invited me to would I like to come to Melbourne? And that took me about 3 seconds to reply.
You and your first wife, Hazel, had 2 boys, Benny and Sam.
Correct.
Ben works here, producing On the Couch.
Correct.
Terribly sad story with Sam. Sam was a haemophiliac. Has me telling you this story, but a haemophiliac got a contaminated batch of blood and died at 15.
He did.
That must have I can't imagine that. Every parent who hasn't endured that just has no idea how it feels. Tell us your memories of that.
Well, it was tragic, obviously, and it was over a long period of time because once Sam became infected, we were informed that it would be some time, but the inevitable would occur.
He was infected with HIV, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
And at that time, there was no cure or anything like that. So I think it was a waiting game and we just had to try and live our lives. It was very difficult for Ben, who was at boarding school in Geelong. Sam just went to a local school in Lismore when he could. And it was very difficult for both Hazel and I, especially for Hazel too, because I was working. And eventually, you know, Sam did deteriorate, but in the meantime, there were times where people were so generous with their time and uplifting, and you know, Greg Norman was fantastic. I remember in '92 at the Masters, and Sam was not too good, and they organised a chopper after the 3rd round for Greg and myself to fly to the farm.
Masters were being played where?
Huntingdale.
Huntingdale, yeah.
And so we left Huntingdale, flew down to Lismore. Sam and Greg played snooker for probably an hour and a half, just chatted with each other, and, you know, obviously Sam loved it. And then we got in the chopper and came home. And the following year, I think it was, when he died in '93, Greg again was to the fore, and I don't know whether you remember, but he used to wear the shark hat and he had Sam's name on the side.
That was born out of your professional relationship with Greg?
Well, I'd known him since '76 when he won the West Lakes Classic. But yes, and he's, you know, he didn't have to do that. It was a bit like Gary Hocking and Gary Ablett didn't have to come to Geelong Hospital and sit with him and talk and whatever, but they did. And so you don't forget things like that, and you don't forget those people. So, yeah. But look, Michael, I would not wish it on, you know, no man or no woman, no husband, no wife, no father, no mother should be burying their son or their daughter.
No, we're all agreed on that.
Yeah.
How long between the contaminated blood and Sam's passing?
Look, I may be wrong, but I think it was around 6 years.
6 years.
Yeah.
And was there any lust for vengeance from you? I mean, clearly there's a mistake happened here.
In that instance, there's obvious reasons to be very, very angry. But the bottom line is that there was no cure. There was nothing we could do to overcome it. All we could do was keep doing what we were doing when he did require a transfusion, which was reasonably often because young kids, they get into strife. But it was something we learned to live with, and I will say that the Geelong Hospital was fantastic. Fantastic.
What about the inevitable question, Sandy, about why this happened? I mean, did you get in front of people that could give you an answer to that?
No, we never got an answer. We never, no. I mean, it's obvious what happened. Like, it was a contaminated lot of blood that a number of people, wasn't just us, received. And
More than Sam?
yeah,
With the same result?
as far as I know, yeah.
You were working professionally and working hard and commuting and had another son. That must have put a huge toll on the marriage. I mean, the marriage broke down. Do you attribute that in part to the breakdown of the marriage?
Oh, definitely. I think, Mike, when you've got a strain like that, and no one knows how any other person is going to handle the strain or grief when it occurs. And so let's say that, you know, you've got husband and wife and the strain is telling. It's like having them being held together by a rope. And unfortunately, after so much, the rope breaks. And I mean, I was one of those people that probably thought, you know, I'll handle my grief by working my bum off and just shutting up, which was, in hindsight, you know, it's the wrong thing to do. And hopefully that's, as far as men are concerned now, things are changing in that department.
Were you counselled?
I wasn't, no, but Hazel was. Yeah.
And just, I mean, there's no winners out of this. But
No.
you were at work. Were you able to immerse yourself in your work? Because Hazel was the full-time carer, wasn't she?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was. And I mean, look, it was probably far tougher for her than it was for me, and she did a mighty job. But it was just, in the end, it was just too much for her.
I must say, I admire the boy. Norman, I think we were aware of his emotional involvement, but I hadn't heard about Gary Ablett and Gary Hocking before, and they would just go to the Geelong Hospital and sit with him?
Yeah.
Because of their friendship with you?
I knew probably Gary more than I did Buddha. But Buddha came along with him and, you know, yeah, it was just really good of them.
You married a second time. You married Carolyn Roach, who was the former wife of the leading South Australian sports journo Jeff Roach.
Correct.
And you've got another boy. You've Angus.
Correct.
Who is year 12 at Halebury.
He is.
Pretty
18
handy
years
with
of
the
age.
tennis racket, isn't he?
He enjoys his tennis, yeah. No, he is. He's currently captain of the first there and playing some good tennis.
I've seen his older brother, Ben, play.
He can smack it as well.
He could smack it. He did, and he did. But would you harbour aspirations for Angus? I mean, would you think that perhaps he could go to America on a tennis scholarship or make a future?
Oh, Mike, Carolyn was booking tickets for Wimbledon 4 years ago.
Well, we did that.
For
We did that.
2025. She's tempered that a bit.
But is he good enough to think that might happen?
Yeah, he's certainly more than toying with the idea of perhaps attending a university in America, and if he could get a tennis scholarship in some shape or form. But look, Mike, he's 18, he's just starting year 12. Things change, particularly at this time of his life and his career.
You know, we're all infatuated, or we have been, with Greg Norman. You did a show on seasons, which I thought was a really good program on Channel 7. Probably the first example of long-form sports journalism.
Correct.
That's where you struck up the friendship with Greg?
Oh, no, no, because I'd known him well before that. I mean,
You'd known him well before that, had you?
Well, I mean, when you're winning the Masters by 9 strokes, you know, and you win 6 gold jackets and, you know, I got to know him pretty well. But we saw, I suppose you'd say, another side of Greg, you know, which was fantastic.
You like him?
Yeah.
Like, he does polarise people,
He
doesn't
he does. But, I mean, that particular seasons, we got him at a good time. I went over there with a producer who sadly passed away some years ago by the name of Stephen Phillips, who you know knew well. And we had a few problems. For example, I jumped on the plane. No, I didn't jump on the plane. I got as far as the ticket counter. And they said, passport? Yep. Visa? No, I don't have a visa. You don't have a visa? So luckily, I had this cab driver by the name of Irish who hadn't left the precinct of the airport. So rang him, told him to get back. I then rang Gary Fenton, and it's amazing what a couple of grand final tickets will do at the American Embassy. So we went there, got it, got back, got on the plane, and we were away. So that was all good. And then we went and did the show with Greg, and we went out fishing.
Could not be unhappy with this. Where to go, Sandy? Sorry, it's nothing personal, Greg. God damn, get out of my way.
We came back and his wife was on the dock, and she was looking pretty pleased. And this was the day that Greg's company was floated on the stock exchange. And he had very, very good reason to be well pleased with that particular day.
What was the reason?
Financially, it was a wonderful, wonderful day.
I understand that, Sandy, thank you. In dollar terms?
Millions.
I know you tried to deflect me on the money. So the Sharks company is floated on the New York Stock Exchange, is that what?
Oh, I'm assuming it's the New York Stock Exchange, yeah.
And it came on at what price? And what did it mean to him in dollar terms?
I can't remember the price that it came on, but I think I'm correct in saying that it was in excess of 10 million.
Small change for him, isn't it? Huh?
Now, Mike, when the floor manager gives you this signal, it means commercial break. And when he follows it up with that, it means get off immediately. So that's exactly what we're going to do. And when we come back, Michael, we'll look at some of the lighter moments in my 46 years.
You're not bad at this.
I might give it a crack.
Before I say goodnight, don't forget, put the clocks back and watches back 1 hour before you go to bed tonight. And, in fact, don't put them back 1 hour, put them forward 1 hour. That's how confused I am about daylight saving. Forward 1 hour. From the news team, pleasant viewing, good luck with the watch changing, and good night.
We'd like to present you with this Pawtucky bag, so thanks very much for all your help today, and thanks for coming in.
Pleasure. With the Daily Double conducted on races 7 and 9, the numbers 3 and 9 return $1.90. The extra double for 10 and 4 paid $4.35, and the Quadette Cranbourne for 3, 9, 9 and 4 paid $23.60.
Sandy, you've been involved in dozens of the world's biggest sporting events, but I must say, and I've followed your career fairly closely, I think your time at World of Sport would almost be the highlight.
I think you're right, Mike. I loved every minute of it. First of all, when I came over here to just be a part of the show under the watchful eye of Ron Casey, people around him like Doug Ablett, who stood in the corner, Bill Collins, who was just, as I've said to you, a wonderful broadcaster and a truly great man. But Case was the ringmaster. There's no doubt about that.
Well, let's put some vision to this, Sandy. Let's relive a few of the moments from World of Sport.
First with the left hand, is it, Peter? All right, well, let's take this message while we're getting underway, and then we'll be back with the Spalding handball semi-final. Well, we can't go because we haven't got any balls.
Well, it's good to be back. Obviously, things have happened since I've been away for a couple of weeks. However... Yes, it is.
Things have changed a bit, Don.
Good on you, darling.
Oh, dear. Well, go and do it. Go on. Might as well do it now.
Gee, I obviously need makeup very badly. Well, we're happy now to say that Ricky Quaid is available to be spoken to, and he's with Bobby Skilton up in Sydney.
Well, from the moment the Sydney Swans decided to move to Sydney, there has been nothing but...
And we'll be back with him in just a moment. Isn't it amazing? Actually, what we did, we told Bobby to hurry it up, and he just went a little too quickly.
It was like a schoolyard. But it was
loosely
great
organised
learning.
chaos, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was one of the few shows, Michael, that was probably 15 minutes behind time after 20 minutes.
Well, we loved it. You guys obviously loved doing it. Did it just run its race? I mean, did we become more sophisticated in our tastes or what?
Well, I think it could have gone a little bit longer, but it was done at the time when Fairfax made some very interesting decisions. For example, they took away the rights of footy. They dumped Mal Walden, I think, as a newsreader, and they decided to end World of Sport, which was an institution. There's no question of that. So I think it could have gone on for probably another 3 or 4 years, but it was mayhem. It was irreverent. But it was fun. I mean, I'm trying to give you an example of the way it worked, and perhaps the best way I can do it is that Uncle Doug Elliott had a corner. Now, Doug was a big, robust man. He was a politician, he was a vaudevillian, and he would sit in a corner, whether he was advertising Ballantyne's chocolates, Patra orange juice, Bataki hams. That was his arena. But every now and again, I or Bill Collins or someone like that, of that ilk, would have to come into his arena, his area, and do a commercial. And in those days, when you did a commercial, you had these huge white cards called idiot sheets, and a floor manager would hold that idiot sheet up next to the camera, and you would then read, you know, if you'd like to buy a car, then get down to your nearest Holden dealer now. And so for the learners, it was like an initiation. And it happened to me where on 2 occasions, Uncle, on one occasion, just sidled up alongside the idiot sheet, and he was a big man. And he would just casually undo his belt and his pants would fall to his ankles. So it wasn't a pretty sight. But then on another occasion, he would saunter up with a cigarette lighter and just light the bottom of the idiot sheet. So if you're reading in the idiot sheet, instead of saying, if you'd like to buy a Holden, then get on, you know, whatever, you've suddenly realised what's happening. So you've got to speed up so you can get it all in before the flames take over. So that was our initiation test from him.
Could it work today?
Well, I think the footy show
was
is something that spawned from that. There's no doubt about that. I mean, it was daytime entertainment all round.
And we had Sunday lunch then too.
That's right. Yeah. And it became all part of an all-consuming Sunday afternoon because you had World of Sport replay, you had Junior Supporters Club in the morning, you had World of Sport replay was racing, World of Sport, then you usually crossed to the Lake Oval for the Army Reserve Cup. So it was a Sunday of total sport.
Sandy, you mentioned the Army Reserve Cup. We've all got fond memories of that. I think you probably more than anyone else.
It was a very different football broadcast, Michael, to say the least. It followed World of Sport, and it was something that I worked initially with Lou Richards and Bob Skilton, which I really enjoyed, loved it. And then worked with Don Scott and Peter McKenna, and I enjoyed it just as much, if not more. They were 2 very different people, and the 3 of us together with Peter Donegan on the boundary line, it was a unique combination, and it was a broadcast that actually it brought a cult following. We had some strange people come to the ground. I remember distinctly a group. There were probably 4 of them, all covered in white sheets. It was like an invasion of the Ku Klux Klan or something. And then we had this other chap whose favourite player was Mark Harvey. When Mark Harvey first started playing at Essendon, he wore number 38, I think.
He did.
Well, this kid, he would put on his own show at half-time. And bear in mind, at half-time at the Lake Oval on a Sunday, everyone's allowed on the ground, including probably 40 or 50 dogs. But Mark Harvey would weave through and he'd bounce the ball, and we finished up calling him a number of times.
Talking about dogs, let's have a look at a bit of the gold from the Army Reserve Cup.
Sandy Roberts.
I find this more incredulous.
Hey, and there's Sandy Roberts with his pussy.
It's not mine. There must be 15 dogs, I think, out here on the ground at the moment. There's another.
It's amazing.
It is quite incredible. And look, they're everywhere.
And the interesting thing about these dogs, some of them, the purebreds, are bred for a specific reason. Did you know that?
Oh, dear.
No, so I'm being serious. Not the crossbreds. Those
Well,
Chihuahua.
what sort of reason?
Well, I don't know. They're either hunting dogs, they're used for hunting, or...
Well, look at this little pickle. I mean, that's tiny.
Well, I don't know. It's a
Look at that.
Chihuahua, isn't it?
I think she's got a problem. I think we better take a break.
Oh, gee, have a look at him now.
What about the
German Shepherd.
Junior Supporters Club, Sandy? I'll take you back there too.
Sir, thank you. Welcome not only to Australia, but to the Junior Supporters Club.
Well, thank you, Sandy, and thank you very much, Kevin, or as you're better known now in the States, KB.
Very, very lucky to have an American president come into the studio. It was
Didn't we fall for that, did we?
I think some might have, actually. Peter Donegan with the mask on, but it was great fun.
I want to take you back to the early part of your journey. You're working in Adelaide. You're assigned to the Mount Gambier Cup, I think about 1983. What was Leanne's surname?
Dick.
You sure?
Pretty sure.
And in fact, we still have Miss Australia with us in Leanne Koch and Leanne Dick, I should say. And Leanne, it's going to be very interesting to we come to the stage now, and that is, I guess, fashions on the field. And we're looking at some of the best dressed ladies that we can find here in Mount Gambier. And I think what we might do is have a look at one or two of them now, and individually we'll just see exactly what they're wearing.
During the break, after that interview went to air, one of the horses for the hurdle threw a plate. So it was going to be delayed. So I've got a producer in my earpiece saying, quick, find someone to interview and you just fill for a couple of minutes. And I've looked around and I've said to him down the line, look, there's no one here. The only person I can see is Leanne Dick, and we've already spoken to her, and that's gone to air. No, stand by, quick, we're coming back, just grab her. So I had to just, come across here, welcome back. Picturesque Glenburnie. Still with us is Leanne Koch, Dick.
Well, she got square with you, didn't she?
She was a piece of stone after I immediately said it. Mm-hmm. But she did in the end. She's a fantastic person.
But did she get square with you?
Yes, she did. At my birthday, she sent a message.
Which one?
60th.
Yeah.
And...
OK, before you talk, let's have a look how it transpired.
Thank you.
Hi, Randy. Oops, I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. I mean, hi, Sandy. When I had a phone call to see if I'd give you some birthday wishes, I jumped at the chance to pay you back. No, really, I am pleased to be a part of your celebrations. After all, you and I have a very long history. Who would have thought 30 years ago that your little slip of the tongue could lead to such infamy for both of us? However, even your powers as a sports broadcaster could not predict the ultimate irony, that when I married, my surname would be changed from Dick to Cockerell. It seems I'm forever destined to have my name laughed at by immature, randy young men.
She's a good woman.
That's the way all those things should end.
Yeah.
Well, I've been meaning to ask you this for a long time. You, McAvaney, and the experts at fronting and the camera. Did you ever get nervous, and do you get nervous?
Yes, yeah. I think you tend to get nervous when you're doing something for the very first time. When for example, World of Sport, doing it for the first time. That day, incidentally, when I hosted World of Sport for the first time, I came in and I was in the studio. There was a phone call from Ron Casey, and he said, come upstairs. So I went upstairs, and there was Ron Casey, Doug Elliott, Bill Collins and Lou Richards. And Ron said, what would you like to drink? This is 10 o'clock in the morning. I said, no, I'm fine, thanks, Ron. And they're all having a whiskey or whatever it is.
Literally?
Yeah. And he said, what will you have to drink? So I can't remember what I said, a beer or whatever. And so I had a drink. And all he was trying to do was just to calm me down and make me feel part of it. And so, yes, I do get nervous when you're doing things for the first time. Not all the time, but yeah.
Will you miss it?
I miss some things, but...
What would you miss most?
People would ask me that when, for example, we lost the rights at 7 to footy when I finished doing tennis. And you've been doing it for a long time, and it's... No, I don't miss it. I don't. I don't miss footy because I still will be involved and I still follow it closely and I love it. But I don't miss anything else about it, no.
The adrenaline rush that you get when there's a big event on and you're live, it's real.
I mean, I know that's fantastic, and it was great for a long period of time to be a part of it, and yeah, I love that. There's no better moment, Michael, than, I think, standing up for the national anthem at the MCG on that one day in September and to hear the roar immediately after the national anthem as the umpire is about to bounce the ball. I mean, yeah, you miss that. Who wouldn't?
Who do you bag for?
Norwood in South Australia I followed, and St Kilda over here, without huge passion, but yeah. The only reason for that was that on our farm was between Adelaide and Melbourne. And in those days, the radio played only VFL. So I was listening in the days of, and my father was too, of Ditterich and Minot and these guys who are, you know, pretty flamboyant. I thought, oh, this is pretty good.
A change of pace now. After the break, Sandy, we're going to take you to one of your favourite places.
I look forward to it, Michael.
You belong here, don't you?
I'm very comfortable here, Michael. Yes, I love it. I've always loved the land, coming from Lucendale, I guess, and it's just been with me ever since. And smaller area now, but it's nice to get away. Yes, I love it.
Carolyn, you're going to be seeing a lot more of him. Will you cope?
Yes, I think I'll cope. He'll be fine. He's home a bit now, and so, you know, as time goes on, we'll get used to it, I guess.
What do you mean, Mike? Will she cope? Will I cope?
No, I'm asking the question, Sandy. Have you got any plans for him? And I don't mean in terms of overseas and stuff, but just locally and what you'll do Monday to Friday.
Well, we want to go and play golf. We're both very average golfers, but I'd like to start playing golf again. Started plenty of times, but yeah, I'd like to give it a go. And we might join the education for the elderly or the University of the Third Age, you know. So Sandy's talking about doing French, and I might do some tennis.
Great.
Yeah, so we'll just see what happens.
Well, it's good that you've got something, rather than just sit here and sort of say, well, what do we do for the next 20 years?
No, look, I'm definitely too young to do that.
You are.
And, yeah, I think we'll be fine. We go for a drive, or we'll, you know, go out for lunch, go to the wineries. So, yeah, we'll be fine.
When the decision came up about what Sandy would do with his immediate future, where did you sit on it?
I just wanted him to do what he wanted to do. I felt he had worked long and hard enough, and he always had said to me he wanted to get out before it was too late. And I said, well, whenever you're ready. Angus is doing Year 12, our son, so I think doing the radio is great because it just gives another year of some normality, if you like. But no, whatever he chose was fine by me.
Is he a Collins Street farmer or the genuine article?
No, well, obviously he's not farming now, but he's a worker. He does not stop outside. He goes, if you saw him, and people around here could vouch, he goes down the supermarket in the daggiest, grottiest clothes, often with toothpaste down the front. He is, there's no airs and graces about Sandy, and he works really, really hard.
Thank you, darling.
Do you enjoy meeting people in places like the supermarket? Are you happy with that? I gather not.
Oh, actually, at the local supermarket you are.
Actually, yeah.
He chats to all the women.
They know me now.
Yeah.
You know, I'll take some stuff up to the counter and the dear old girl will say, no, Sandy, that's not on special. This one's on special. Go and put that back and take this one.
And do you do that?
Yes, I'm like a good little boy.
But do you, the question is still, are you happy meeting people and conversing about what you've done or the state of football?
Sure. Yeah. Quite happy. I mean, I went into a fish and chip shop recently and the guy said, I'm not serving you until you can give me from 1 to 18 where the teams will finish this year. So I didn't get my chips for about an hour.
Winter and not being involved on television will be new to you. Have you got anything specific in mind for the winter of 2019?
Nothing specific. Oh, this is very boring because I don't have anything specific, Mike. No. I mean, there's enough work around here to keep me busy and I'll still be doing a few things, you know, corporate stuff and...
What's that mean? We're speaking?
Yeah. You know what that means perfectly well. So
I was thinking more along the lines of, might you pick a golf major to go and visit or something?
I'm certainly going to do that. I'm looking forward to going to Augusta in 2020.
Oh, 2020?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've done a few US Opens and British Opens, but I've never had the chance to go to Augusta, so I'm really looking forward to that.
Sandy, is there one word that describes your career from your perspective?
From my point of view, Michael, fortunate, I think. Very fortunate indeed to be involved with the sports that I've loved and to be able to work with those sports and the people within them. Very, very fortunate.
Honestly, we've been fortunate to have you in our lives too. And Carolyn, it's been great to catch up. Good luck with him for the next 20
Thank
years.
you, Mo.
And Sandy, all I can say to you is, what more can you say?
Well done, Mike. Thank you, sir.
Here is the magician at work. He shoots towards goal. What more can you say?
Martin O'Toole is going to be the threat. He's clear of Steve Reese and Norm Meyer. You won't catch Lawrence O'Toole.
For those of you who've dabbled in dodgem cars and often thought you'd like perhaps a little more excitement, then I think we can provide the answer for you. It's said of some sporting achievements, you don't have to be crazy, but it helps.
He's going on to a very, very easy victory. A good win to West Forster over Terry Bird.
What a finish. Any score. Otherwise we play extra time. Lockett, the most important kick of his career. Any score will do. He kicks.
Sandy's legacy will be, I guess, the absolute paragon of excellence, the professionalism, the effort that he brought to every single thing he did. Like they often talk about a player's best performance and worst performance. He was always there or there, and that was the difference between his best and worst.
He had so many highlights, and the Olympics was, I think, a benchmark for him, and he was fun to be around.
Until I see you again, be who you are, Sandy, which is a great person.
He's a great mentor. The thing I got from Sandy following him through here in Adelaide was he was unflappable.
I've been lucky enough to call with Bruce McAvaney and Sandy Roberts and some of the greats. Well, there was no one better than Sandy. Maybe a couple as good, but no one better.